fairly level head, but, you know, you guys
Testing,
can
1, 2,
decide
3.
on whoever you decide
Testing.
on. So.
Test 1, 2, 3.
The regular board meeting of the Niles Main District Library on October 15th, Wednesday, October 15th, 2025 at 7 p.m.
Okay. Trustee Kadir?
Present.
Trustee Sheila?
Here.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Here.
Treasurer Botello? Absent. Secretary Toy?
Here.
Vice President Rosansky? Absent. And President King?
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So no one has signed up for public comment. Would anyone in the room like to make public comment? I did not receive anything either.
Okay. Thank you. We are on to consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda, including 4A of the minutes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on meetings of September 10th, 15th, special board meetings, September 15th, Finance Committee, 17th, public hearings, 17th, regular board meeting, payment of the bills, treasurer's report, trustee reports, executive director's report, and communications and committee reports.
A second?
Second.
Trustee Kadir?
Yes.
Trustee Sheila?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Treasurer Botello? Absent. Secretary Toy?
Yes.
Vice President Rosansky? Absent. President King?
Yes.
Passes 5 to 2 absent.
Thank you.
Can I just ask clarification? Are either of them ask them for a notice, like we know they're not coming, or?
Not as far as I'm aware.
I think they are coming. I think they're just
Okay.
late. So I would like to suggest possibly if they're not here by the time we get to the levy discussion, we can.
That's
things
what, that's
up,
why I was asking.
And wait for them to come back. I'd also like to ask, those of us that are here and when they get here, but we have an early morning tomorrow, so let's all be mindful of how long we're taking for things and stuff like that. So with that, we are on to unfinished business. 5A is action on proposal to discontinue notary services.
I move to, I guess I don't move yet because we haven't discussed it yet. But I
Right,
move to
so-
discuss the proposal to discontinue notary services.
All right, let's discuss. I don't think we need to.
Go ahead, Kim.
I also, well, I wrote it up, printed it if you want to see it, but what I'm saying is I'd like to, and I don't know if I'm going to use the right wording, but to table this agenda item until we have more information. I feel we are moving too fast to discontinue the notary service. I'd like to propose a new procedure. Offer the notary service by appointment only. When the person calls to make the appointment, read them the rules to have documents notarized. Also, email or text the rules so the person can read them before coming in for their appointment. I would like the neighboring libraries, Park Ridge, Glenview, Lincolnwood, Morton Grove, and Skokie, to be polled asking the following questions. Do they offer notary services? Do they have any problems with people being upset about not being able to get their documents notarized? Do they charge for notary service? Have they had any fraud insurance problems?
Okay.
Can
you send me that? Or would you, can I have the copy of it?
Oh, I got a lot of copies.
Okay.
So,
One for each?
Kathy, per your point, I like the idea of postponing things. However, everything we've heard so far from the actual notaries who are doing this notary service, I would propose that we implement, rather than, we're now discussing it for 2 months, right? And the folks who are getting abused as acting out of their notarial service obligations are gonna continue, that's gonna continue until we make some kind of decision. So I would suggest we immediately implement a by appointment only and by approval only. And then we can revisit that in a month to see if that's working better or whatever. So in other words, we're taking
action.
some action to protect the staff members who are notaries and who are, willing, who have that commission, who are willing to offer those services, on an immediate basis while we consider what the long-term solution is.
I'm fine with that.
Can I ask a question now? Do we charge for that notary? Shouldn't we charge something like a stipend of $5 or something to actually put that in our kitty, and then nobody would take advantage of us per se? Meaning there could be 3 or 4 notaries at a time, and you're not paying attention to all the
I think
paperwork.
the issue, from the 2 emails that I saw, were there any more than 2? I
No,
saw
just
2.
There was 2.
So from the 2 emails I saw, the issue isn't so much, are we paying for it, are we not? It's they don't understand the rules, they don't understand the liabilities that a notary has when they notarize a document. And so they're just like, basically, what's your problem? Why can't you do this for me? I need this done. As opposed to following the rules. And so that's why I say if we do, number one, if we do appointment only. And number 2, not only email the rules, but somebody needs to probably send their documents in advance. These are the documents I'm having notarized. And,
Okay.
But now, do they witness that as well? I mean, you would actually need a witness to.
right, no, but like if you
This
send
would
your
just be a
documents in
copy.
advance,
This is what
here's
I'd
a copy,
like
this is the document that I'm gonna have you notarize. And then the notary in advance can say, no, we can't notarize this, cancel the appointment, end of story.
So,
Now you avoid personal confrontation.
I will give you some of the challenges that have been reported in specific situations where there have been patrons who are like, I don't want you to look at my document. I just want you to notarize it, which is where some of the conflict comes in because the notary cannot determine whether or not they can legally notarize the document without
you're-
seeing the document.
Then you just,
okay.
I hear
Yeah.
what you're saying, and it has the potential to cause even more conflict for them, especially if we make a change for a month and then change it back if the board makes a different determination. Because now the staff will have to directly deal with questions of like, why did it change? When is it coming? Like that type of
I
stuff.
think
Okay.
that implementing something immediately, I don't know if that's even something that you can do, but I think also the idea of doing it now and then possibly having to go back and do something different is confusing. I like the idea of tabling it or just having more discussion right now about it and coming up with more, or having the staff come up with more ideas, because I like the idea of having an appointment based, and while they're filling out the form, like when they're doing the passport appointment, you have, there can be questions like, is this document for XYZ? Oh, wait, well, then you can't come here for this. Is this document for ABC? Yes, okay, then you have to have this paper, this paper, this paper. Check this box saying that you have it before you can submit your papers and make an appointment. I mean, you guys will think of those things.
Athena has drafted some considerations if the board is not interested in getting rid of notary services to potentially update our policy. What that doesn't address is that several staff have just dropped their notary. As I mentioned at the last board meeting, we only have one staff member who has this in their job description, and it's Athena. That's the only person.
Mhm.
And everyone else is dropping their notary, I forget what it's called,
Certification.
certification, because they don't want the personal liability. And so this actually puts a lot of pressure on our one staff member who has this in their job description as well.
Well,
So
and that could be something that could be helped by the appointment system then, no? Where they could have
Potentially.
just-
The difficulty with
appointments a week or
appointment
whatever.
system, first is that Athena manages a 19 person department. And so her being the only person who really can get pulled for this is challenging. And she's not here all the time. And so what happens with appointments, I've seen this be an issue at other libraries who have pulled back on their notary services. The appointments are not at the time when the person wants it. So they still come in, they're still mad, they still want. It's the same potential for conflict. So that, like,
I just don't feel rest of the community should suffer because of something like that.
Because
I
you
think it's
receive
a
new
really valuable
patrons too. You
service.
could receive new patrons that actually want to utilize that, opportunity.
It's possible, it is, it's just, I don't feel the statistics support this service, because it's an average of 30 a month. Last month, we did, 13? We did 13 patrons that we served, and half of them we had to say no to, which is what my,
If we're gonna consider charging for it, you can go to the UPS store or wherever and pay. The whole point, I think, the benefit of coming to the library was we weren't charging you for it, right? So if we start charging for it,
I know Glenview charges $5.
Right.
But we don't charge for passport services or anything else.
But I think this would be an opportunity for us, because
We
then
do
we
charge for
actually,
passport services.
yeah, we charge for that, right?
have to charge for passports, yeah.
this would be an opportunity for us, because then it would weed out your
Not
individuals.
necessarily though, personally. Just me. I don't think we should give it up.
Yeah, I do not either.
I think we need to find some compromise in the middle that is going to have, or make, not make, but hopefully the employees feel better about it. And we can still keep the service for our patrons.
So, I hear you, but I just, being the lawyer of the group, a few bad apples ruin the bunch, right? The reason we have all these ridiculous warning labels on, children's toys is because a few people decided they're gonna play the system and sue for ridiculous things that you should know better. The same reason we have, and I could name 1,000 different examples, is because a few bad apples swallow the bunch, right? And so if you have a few patrons who are gonna abuse the system, or in this case, it sounds like a lot of them, or who are going to act abusive towards employees and so forth, then I would rather not have a service than have a service that's gonna subject our staff to belligerent and otherwise abusive people.
I
And that's
think,
unfortunate, but I think that's reality.
I think you're gonna have those abusive people no matter what. If you don't offer the service, you're gonna have people complaining to the staff about it being discontinued. It's still going to be some abuse because those customers, that's just in their nature. But I do like the idea of finding out what the other libraries have done. I know Skokie Library discontinued it, and it would be good to see what other libraries in the area are doing. I know the ILA offers like, a sheet for requirements to get something notarized. And one of that is that the notary has to check to make sure the documents are 100% complete. So if a patron says they can't look at the documents, they have the right to refuse them.
Which we know, the problem is that when the staff goes to refuse for these legitimate reasons, they are being abused at a much higher level than any other service that we are offering currently.
So maybe one of the things that you guys can discuss is how, like, having a second person available, like whether that's.
We've tried that, and so there are a couple of people in other departments other than patron services that got a notary, I don't know if it's conscript but a notary certificate, but they end up not being actually available when people just walk into
I mean, like
notary
the
services.
security, like it's not an official security department, but we have people that do the rounds and stuff like that, make them available possibly.
So,
I don't know. I'm very sympathetic to the staff and what they are facing, but I really hate to discontinue this service without trying other solutions first.
what puzzles me about this is, I've gone to the bank to get things notarized, I've gone to, I mentioned the UPS store to get things notarized, I'm sure FedEx store and other places like that have the same service. And I call them in advance, and I say, do you have a notary? And they tell me, yes, our notary is here from this hour to this hour, and I show up at that time. And, if our notary's not available, you can yell and scream all you want, and that's not gonna change the fact that you can't get that stamp that you need. And so I feel as if, we have to be balanced in our customer service too. Like sometimes we have to tell you, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna tolerate this, you're gonna be asked to leave. And if somebody starts abusing a staff member, boot them for the day,
Which we
or
do,
longer.
and would the board be open to us potentially hiring someone outside of our staff to offer notary services at conscripted amounts of time, given the idea that it would be very costly?
But
They
what-
charge
what
a
would be
lot
the
of money.
What would be the
I wouldn't
benefit of
go.
having an outsider?
I
They're just
wouldn't
gonna
go
be
with
abused
that.
too.
Because the outsider makes a lot more money and chooses to have the personal liability that comes along, because the personal liability is also a huge issue, and it cannot be gotten away from in Illinois law. There is personal liability that staff.
What
members-
is the personal liability on the statute?
I don't
Let's
know the
not.
actual statute, I believe I shared that via email from our attorney,
Okay.
but there
I don't
is,
remember, but I'm sure it was there.
there is personal liability that notaries cannot get away from in the state of Illinois, regardless if they are bonded by the library for doing things in the work time. And it is our honestly, our lowest paid staff that are being asked to do this service right now.
Did you say Athena has a list of items that would
We
help
do.
make her job easier? I would say let's take a look at that list and see what we can do to help her and see what we can do to try to keep the service. I think it's a good service.
I don't know if any trustee would be interested in taking the lead on doing that research too, so that we're not having staff do, I mean, that's something that we can do, right? Find out from other libraries.
I mean, I'm happy to reach out to other directors too and pull them, that's not an
It
issue.
could go like with a rail blast, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I remember those.
So it feels like there's a consensus to not stop it at this point, but to try and come up with other solutions, is that?
Right.
Do any board members have any other solutions you would like to suggest? Or right now, just wait and see what other libraries are doing?
I don't know how this is gonna, I'm gonna try my best. Well, here we go. If you're a public person,
Mhm.
you are going to be possibly subject to, I don't wanna use the word abuse, but some
I don't understand. You mean a public person, a patron, or a public person who works in the public?
works in the public, a
Okay.
patron like Athena, or
Okay.
whoever.
Customers,
Staff
says
members.
customers.
Customer facing.
Right, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
That's almost in my mind, part of the job. You're not going to have a happy customer every time. And somehow we need to help the employees figure out how to deal with it or work around it, meaning if they get abusive, I'm sorry, you need to leave, or they just leave.
And what about the liability concerns, which does
See,
not
I
come
don't-
with most customer service
I'm,
issues?
see, this is just, it's a bigger discussion. We've never, ever in all the years, the liability never, ever came up, and I don't know why it's being raised now. And if I understand it correctly, it's on the employee's part if they were to do fraud, am I correct?
No, so what the attorney said, and it's in my write-up, what he said is that the bond that we would potentially put in place would protect the institution, and the person who went to the employee and said, notarize this, it does not protect the employee. The employee would be liable. For some issues, it would be personal, like, yes, on purpose fraud, but it does not matter. Like, for example, if someone came in with a fake ID and the employee doesn't know how to, detect that that's a fake ID, the notary could still be liable because someone's house could get sold out from under them, for example.
Well, we can't do that though.
But
We don't-
it's just an example. We don't
okay.
do home ownership.
I mean, could it
of
really
goods.
happen with what we notarize?
Yes. And that is what the attorney advised. Yes, there is no way to get around the liability.
Okay, all right. I don't think we're gonna have enough time tonight to make,
Sure.
a decision to discontinue. I think we should, I'd like to follow that and the appointment and to see how it works and I don't know, maybe look into more of the liability side of it. I just,
Yeah,
I don't
I mean,
know.
you know, my take is people here are not paid enough to have to accept that kind of personal liability.
But going back to my question, does anyone have any other suggestions for what we could do instead? Any changes we could make at this time, or do you just want to pull other libraries?
Well, I think that
I would
Kathy's
do a
suggestions of, sorry,
Mhm.
go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Oh, I just think we should do comparisons for now.
Okay.
And actually get further information, so we could actually mirror what they are doing, or
Mhm.
else do better in terms of different guidelines that we should project.
Okay.
But I still feel that maybe we should charge for a stipend to actually clear or justify what's happening.
I mean, maybe have a discussion with you guys to maybe build upon what Kathy brought up, like having an appointment system and what would go into that. And,
Oh, sure, I
you know, how
meant,
could
in
we-
addition
in
to that,
addition to
any
that,
other potential suggestions that I could discuss with staff? Because we haven't been able to come up with anything that would relieve the tension that comes with this.
Mhm.
And so I just have staff who are dropping their notary certifications. And because they are not interested in about a 50% level of turning people away and potentially
And I
having
mean,
conflict.
maybe an idea would be something like a stipend for incentivizing that.
Well, that's a good idea too. Is that something that that board would consider? I know you're not voting on anything, but, you know, okay,
I'll keep thinking.
thank you. No, I appreciate that. So
Okay,
then,
so,
somebody motion to table, I guess?
Kathy, I think you did, right?
Well, I think
No.
that's how I read it.
Yeah, right? Is there a
Um,
second then?
I second.
Okay. So, you would like to vote to table the agenda item, and trustee Schoenfeld seconded, okay.
We'll worry
Trustee-
about Patty. Oops.
Trustee Kadir,
No,
trustee Sheila,
Yes.
trustee Schoenfeld,
Yes.
treasurer Bertello,
Yes.
secretary Toy,
Yes,
vice president Rosansky, absent, president King.
Yes.
5-1 passes.
I would like to, motion that we move up item 6C, in hopes that trustee Rosansky will get here for the levy. I didn't hear from her, so I'm not sure what's going on there, but is there a second?
second. Oh, you did.
We're moving up 6C, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I have a question, because I was gonna move to table that item. So I don't know if I need to move it up first and then table it, or can I just jump ahead to that?
That's honestly up to the board.
let's move it up on
Let's
the
move it
table.
up.
Okay, so let's
table.
move it up first.
Okay, I move to table.
You
six-
Well, we have
could
to
do it as
move.
one motion. You could
Okay.
say, I motion to move it up and then table, or I move to move it up and then table it at the same time.
Okay,
if you want.
I motion to move up item 6C and table it.
Second.
My feeling is that it's a lot of information to digest and go through, and I haven't had enough time myself to look through all those,
Same here.
so
Yeah, agreed.
I don't want to rush that.
Can I make a recommendation? Could we have a special meeting just for those RFPs?
I'm in favor of that.
That would be good.
Because
Okay.
I think if we add it to another agenda,
It'll be lost.
yeah.
Sure.
So I move, or what do I do?
Should we do the moving up and tabling, and then set a date?
Yeah,
Okay, so, all in favor of tabling the RFPs?
aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. All right, so possible dates for a special meeting. Let's see.
I thought of October 29th, it's a Wednesday.
Gonna be tough for me, the following week could work.
November?
Yeah, November, whatever, the
5th.
5th, yeah.
I'm clear on the 5th.
I'm fine on the 5th.
Okay, yeah, me too.
It is good.
All right, so
Still at 7?
I think so. All right.
You don't have to vote on it, we can,
No.
yeah. Mm-mm.
Then I would like to motion to move up item 6D.
Second.
So that is the action on proposals for the marketing assessment services. Got my papers. That starts on page,
182.
yeah, 182.
We get a second?
Yeah, we do.
Do you want to call Pat?
I am going to step out and call Pat.
Okay.
You guys go ahead.
6D.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask
Yes.
a question here? I don't know if this applies here, but like the meeting for 6C, is it possible to have, instead of like a special meeting, a committee of the whole, where you're not subject to all of the parliamentary procedures, and you can kind of just have a more open discussion with the whole group?
That would be up to Becky.
Okay.
Either way, it ends up being a special meeting because we have to call it as a special meeting. But if you do committee of the whole, you just don't vote on anything, but we'd still have to schedule it in advance and
Okay.
all of the things. So the only real difference is whether or not you want to vote in that meeting or not. That the biggest difference, as you know, because you're
Okay.
a seasoned trustee elsewhere. But we've never done committee of the whole, at least since I've been here. It's
Okay.
possible that it's been
Just
addressed.
curious.
Mhm. Does anyone have any questions about the proposal to engage Stacy Ledden Consulting LLC for a marketing assessment?
The president stepped out.
She said, go ahead.
Oh,
When
okay.
she stepped out, she asked us to talk
Okay.
about it.
Not so much a question, but how's it going to look to the public to spend, let's say, any amount of money? When we have a marketing department here?
Mhm.
I don't know how well that would be received. Not that maybe in the, how do I say? It might be good for the library to get the marketing department up and running,
Mhm.
especially what we've talked about, unincorporated areas. I just don't know if we should be spending that kind of money.
So the reason why I brought this forward and why I'm strongly a proponent of this is that, first and foremost, to answer your question about how it might look to the public, that's true of any consultant we might bring in for any reason, right? I've heard in past board meetings and things of that nature, questions about why we might bring in landscaping when we have a facilities department and things of that nature. So I understand we have to make a strong argument for something like this, which is fair. And I have some notes here from Annie, because we did talk about it earlier, just to give her perspective as far as a professional. The biggest benefit to the library, and I believe as the board knows and the public may know, just from potentially having seen the board's meeting with the strategic planning consultant that we're working with, is that marketing is something that has consistently come up from the public, the board, and the staff about something that needs improvement. The board has given me directives for this year as one of my goals to improve marketing by January for the library, because that's my employment year. And we've had several discussions, both with individual board members and things like that, where we really want to invest in marketing. We've talked about things like billboards, and we've talked about things like trying to get promotion on the buses and things like that, but we need someone to help us first build the structure within that department. I actually had a very long conversation with Sasha today. He was at the ILA conference that I was at. He is the former head of marketing and PR at this library, for anybody who's not familiar. And he specifically said, and I told him I was gonna mention his name, that he didn't write down procedures in marketing. It was all verbal, which we know is a pattern in the library in general. And this would help us get started on the area that has been most identified across the board in our strategic planning process as something that needs help and needs to get off the ground quickly. We do have a marketing head who has one other staff member active right now because of people being out of the department, and to get day-to-day operations going while trying to back build a foundation that was not there will take years, to be honest, unless we get a consultant who can kickstart that progress for us. So it depends on priorities for the board. We can do things fast by spending money, or we can do things at a slower pace with our current resources.
You're talking about kickstarting it real fast.
Mm-hmm.
Hypothetical, if we do that, what, I think the word is gonna be tangible results are be guaranteed.
So I outlined that in an email I sent to the board. I didn't print it out, but it's also in this proposal here in the packet. They have their deliverables listed. And so, let me find that
Do you want me to read
page.
it from the email?
Oh, yes, they
Because I asked that question.
mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you. Oh, so this is a big thing, actually, that we probably will talk more about later, and maybe Mark mentioned this when I stepped out, but standard operating procedures, which is what Sasha talked about. So that's something that is library-wide, that is missing library-wide. And the staff is currently having a really hard time having enough time to do it, if they know how to do it, and if they don't know how to do it, learning how to do it. So having it done in one department because it's something that came up with the meetings that Roberto and I had that we can talk about more later. But having standard operating procedures done for this department would go a long way, I think, in getting it done in the rest of the library. It would give us kind of a playbook. That's one deliverable. Map workflows for content creation and approval, create template
This is the other
templates.
one.
Oh, sorry.
Because they're
I'm reading
different
the wrong
phases.
thing.
No,
Standard, okay.
it's just different phases, that's why.
Marketing and tools and templates, marketing assessment report with actionable insights and recommendations. Wasn't there also like branding, like physical things that we would see, right? Like
Yes, so.
logos and
I read all of that, but,
that's not in that.
yeah, just go on, I'll figure it out in my head.
Kathy, I'll just offer here. So the consultant is saying that she's going to work in phases. There's 3 phases,
Yeah.
6 to 8 weeks. So it's not as if it's going to be very quickly. It's going to take some time.
Yeah.
And so the turnaround is going to be, let's say, in a half a year, right? Versus several years. And so I'm just going to add to something that you mentioned earlier. There is, it's difficult to make it any type of expense. But honestly, when I look back at the expense and then ultimately, whatever the consultant delivers to us as a report, it's back to the 2 staff members that have to actually carry it out. So my concern personally, as just one opinion of 7, is that I have a lot of faith in what the department is doing now in terms of their ability. A lot of what's in here, I think it's a matter of us just prioritizing and saying, let's give more importance to the SOP versus something else, so that they don't feel overburdened that they have to deliver everything at once. So we can break it down in smaller segments so that it lessens the burden on them, work with the resources that they have, and quite possibly, I did have a conversation with Sasha myself as well when we were at the conference earlier this morning. I had a different take on the conversation, of course, because Sasha communicates differently from me than Valerie. he asked me not to mention his name. I can talk to the board about what suggestions he made with me as it relates to the board. But I think that we can work with what we have as long as we as a board give redefined objectives for their department. And I'll leave it at that. I'm not in agreement with spending $34,000, or for that matter, any of the amounts that were listed on the proposals here, because it ranged from the low $18,000 to as high as $147,975. You know, on the one, even at $18,000, we can hire a part-time person to give a contract an individual to come in and help them out for $18,000. Is you know, provided that we reprioritize their tasks. So I see more value in potentially hiring a contract worker to help them out. But that's just my opinion. Again, it's 107, and I'll leave that at rest at this point.
I have a question, Valerie. How long was the RFP?
The
How long was it
RFP
open?
was out, I believe, for 3 weeks. We actually posted it twice. We didn't get a lot of response the first time. We got the responses, the numbered responses that were listed here, and then I I do want to say that this is at the request of our marketing department, and they say it would help them as opposed to burdening them. I'm going to read some highlights from what Annie shared with
Can
me.
I ask one other thing first?
Sure.
Is this not something that HR Source has resources available for?
No, this is sheerly focused on marketing. It has nothing to do with HR whatsoever. And so the marketing in and of itself is a billions of dollar industry in general. Most libraries, from what I've seen, have issues with marketing because marketing has higher costs than usually people who, and one of the things I did talk about with Sasha, as well as someone else who used to work here in the marketing department and other marketing departments in libraries, is that it is hard for libraries to find professionals to do marketing work because of typically marketing costs being higher. And so I understand wanting to hire help for the marketing department, but at a level of what we could pay for these proposals, we would likely be getting a part-time person who wouldn't necessarily have the same expertise to help with things like SOPs, for example, just to put that perspective on the table. And these are some of the things that Annie has shared. An outside consultant would bring an unbiased, objective approach that is not encumbered by the familiarity with the current structures and processes that an internal assessment hasn't allowed us to get past. It would identify blind spots and may have been overlooked during our internal audit, which their department has done an internal audit of any existing documentation and marketing needs. The marketing department, and as I just mentioned, and the board is aware, you have requested that we as a library focus on marketing within this year. And to me, unless I misunderstood, it sounded like a very high priority item, and that was reinforced by the strategic planning process. And so Annie continued to say, we aim to expand our impact, reach, and connections by embracing the challenge of transitioning to the marketing and communication department, which they are doing. They're trying to expand their reach, creating core documents that the library lacks, a visual style guide, a brand identity guide, that any documents that we have were created over 10 years ago or are only partially completed because Sasha started to work on them before he transitioned out of the library, but was not able to finish many of the updates to the documents. And again, I'm not calling him out. He was making an effort to help the library, but did not have the time to do so because creating these documents was not part of the culture in the past. And it's something we're working to correct here. The proposal is clearly spelled out in phases, as was mentioned, with opportunities to evaluate the progress and success of this endeavor to see if we can create deliverables from it. And just as some statistics to help support this particular person, Ms. Ledden was part of the team that transformed Anythink libraries, which were one of the country's worst funded libraries, with less than 10% of the community having library cards after a rebrand that she assisted with and a process similar to what this proposal outlines. The Anythink Library saw a 28% increase in cardholders and engagement with their marketing. And so if that's our goal, this particular person has actual evidentiary experience in turning things around and making the marketing of a library specifically more engaging for the community, which again was my understanding as far as the board wanting to prioritize this project.
No, on a ideal day, how many people are in that department?
That department at the moment has 3 full-time staff. And we are hopeful to post for a 4th full-time person soon. In addition, we have a 5th full-time person who does deliveries, which is separate from the marketing portion of that department.
Okay. So of the 3 people that are currently employed full-time in that department, how many of them are actually working right now?
2.
And in the past year, have we been fully staffed in that department any number of months in a row?
No.
So I'm asking these questions to point out the fact that while we have identified this as a priority, that we will be evaluating Valerie on, the department hasn't been fully staffed for a very long time, and if we want something to happen, I think that we need to push this through, because it's just not, I don't think that the staff is capable of doing this amount of work in this, and certainly not in this amount of time, and even double that amount of time. If we want the marketing to go, then this is how it's going to go. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen, in my opinion, because their staff is just not capable of doing it.
So that, I feel like your arguments actually cut more in favor of what Roberta was saying than what, because you're saying that staff, by hiring this person, we can get stuff done that the staff doesn't have time to do. But what Roberto's saying, we should just hire additional staff to get done what the current staff doesn't have time to do. And, that seems to me like paying somebody $34,000 to be a consultant at probably a pretty high hourly rate or calculated hourly rate versus paying somebody to actually just do many of these same things as part of their employment. You're going to get more bang for your buck if you have
Kind
an
of person
employee.
you're going to find that's going to be able to do the standard operating procedure and all of the other marketing things too.
I'm not suggesting that you will be able to find such a person, but what I'm suggesting is that if you find a person who can take over, so you've got a certain number of tasks that have to be done. And I don't think, we're not saying here that Annie can't do those tasks and therefore we need an outside consultant. That's not what we're saying here. We're saying Annie doesn't have time to do those tasks because she's got too many other responsibilities, right? So if we pull some of the responsibilities that are currently on Annie's plate and put them on a new employee's plate,
Potentially.
then Annie can do some of these things herself. And maybe that's a more efficient use of the funds. Just go gung-ho in terms of trying to hire somebody.
I think that's something that we could possibly bring back to her, but understanding that if we were to hire another full-time employee, it would cost us more than $34,000 in 1 year.
Sure,
That
And it would
but-
be a repeated thing. That wouldn't be just a person that we hire for 1 year until it's done.
No, sure, but that person is, we're short-staffed anyway, so that person is gonna do, these things and then, transition into whatever else is needed in the department right now.
Valerie.
Thank you. That would be my question for the board, because I don't want to speak for Annie, but I imagine she would appreciate being able to redefine the makeup of her department. That department does not have an assistant supervisor, for example, currently. And also that would likely cost more than the $34,000 proposed here. So it would be also a matter of whether or not the board and by extension the public, like you asked about, Kathy, would be more supportive of spending this one-time amount of money to get us into a better position to run with what we have now and assess the needs of the department moving forward, or if we want to pause, because it will take time to potentially invent new positions, hire for them, train them before we even get anywhere near developing SOPs, et cetera, and have a long-term strategy for improving marketing with the board's understanding that that would take the years that I've been talking about. So it's a matter of how you would like us to prioritize this.
So in short, we'll get stuff, are you, so, you know, I don't, not asking this for any, but do you believe that we get more bang for our buck?
Oh, okay,
That's a way to make an entrance.
yeah,
I
great.
didn't do that on purpose.
All right,
Thank you.
Sue?
okay.
If you wanted to.
Jeez,
Rolling paper clips that,
It just,
wow.
poof,
I
didn't realize
okay,
how tight it
I'll
was.
make my statement with a paper clip.
If you're asking me what I think would work best,
Yeah,
and I know,
not
How this-
work best.
Yeah.
But give you more return, ROI, return on investment.
ROI would honestly be both. It would be starting here, and then after we have this, after that department has the tools to assess where they're at, then let us decide whether we need more staff or not. Because we can't accurately make that determination where we're at right now. That is my honest suggestion.
I would like to add, you're done?
Mhm.
Thank you. I want to just add this, that as a board, we have the ability to reprioritize the expectations that we put on
thank you.
the executive director. So it's not, you know, we gave a set of instructions for and goals and objectives for the executive director, but we can come back and say, we're going to revise them. We're going to change them one way or another. And I think that's really critical for us to consider at this point. Becky hinted at one thing. And this is important for everybody to understand because it's part of the discussion. What we're lacking is a standard operating procedures. And so Becky and I have been dealing with that issue. And it's really important that we have an opportunity to share with the board where we stand on that, because it's across the board. And it's I believe that it's in our best interest to essentially put this discussion about the marketing department on hold and allow for Becky and I to share the information that in my opinion, will probably reprioritize some of the objectives that we have set for ourselves and for the library.
Can I ask you one question?
Yes,
Put on hold for later in this meeting or put on hold for a future meeting?
either or,
Okay.
either or. But I think it's really important because some of the things that Becky and I have talked about, again, have been talked about, and the board hasn't had an opportunity to hear from us. So, you know, I'm of the opinion at this point for us to table the discussion on the marketing proposal and put in new business I don't know if it's a closed session item of the
I
topic.
think it came out of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, but it has to be talked about one way
Yes,
or another.
yes.
So, you know, again, that's simply my suggestion because I believe that in true fairness and transparency, that is what's necessary in order for us to feel comfortable about reprioritizing our goals.
I'm fine with that. Are you making a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion. So my motion is to table item 6A, you said?
6D.
6B?
D.
D, okay. So I'm going to say it again. I motion to table item 6D, the action for the proposal for marketing assessment services. And so let's vote on that.
I second.
Tabling it, excuse me, Again, I'm gonna go back to the question, how long? Since I came in a little late.
Sure.
Well, at least another meeting,
Yeah,
not tonight.
We can't
Okay.
do it tonight.
Okay,
Sure.
that's fine.
Sure.
I just
We'll
wanted it
table it for another
clarified,
meeting.
thank you.
Uh-huh. Victoria, did you get my motion?
Yeah, I wanted to say, motion to table the action on the proposal for the marketing assessment services. And,
Until the next meeting.
okay,
Nice, second.
got it.
So at this time, I'm gonna move to add an item under other, and I'll have to wait on that, right?
Yeah.
So we got-
Yeah,
Other
okay,
is
we'll wait on
after
that. Uh-huh.
executive.
Yeah, okay.
So 6E, I move to, actually,
Well, I think now we can go back to
B.
6A,
okay,
the levy, right?
yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
we postponed the levy till you got here.
I appreciate that, and I'm sorry I'm late. I have been having health issues and I didn't realize how late it was until I like, holy crap, I'm in, the meeting's going on.
Thank you. All right.
So thank you.
No,
We never
tabled it.
voted,
We
I
ta-
think
we're
You have to-
tabling it.
You had
Oh,
to vote, all in
No,
favor?
table 6D.
All in,
Oh.
yes, yes.
Action on, yeah, so we are voting on tabling the marketing assessment service, RFP. All in favor?
I,
All opposed? Me,
Okay.
Okay, whatever.
yes.
I,
All right, so now we're on to 6A, new business, action on ordinance. Victoria, are the ordinance numbers all correct?
No.
Okay. So is 6A ordinance 2504?
That is correct.
Okay,
I move to approve ordinance 25-04, levying and assessing taxes of the Niles Main District Library, Cook County, Illinois, for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025, and ending June 30, 2026.
At what amount?
Yeah,
Yes,
okay, so
there's
let's
two
talk about it
different
first
amounts.
before I move. I unmove.
well, we can't discuss it until it's on the
You
table.
can
No.
discuss, and
Yeah.
then you make a motion based on,
The
Well,
discussion.
see, that's not, okay,
we
I'm
have,
glad to hear that, I didn't realize that was,
So,
there are two amounts up for discussion. One is $8,091,000, 960, sorry, $8,091,962. Is that the 3.9% increase?
2.9.
2.9, yes.
2.9, yeah.
And the other
Is a 5%
is the
for,
full 5% for $5,257,000.
no, 8 million something.
Sorry, somebody else read it, I'm not doing it.
so it's 8,091,962 for 2.9%, and the other one is
8 million.
8,257,101
And the difference between the two,
is 166,139.
thank you.
I did that in my head, so I'm gonna check it.
No, but that sounds familiar from last meeting.
All right, open for discussion. When we had some discussion last time, I don't know if anyone else has.
No, sorry, 165,139. Can't subtract.
Well, I can maybe start, I'd like to go with the 5%. Because I'd rather do the 5 than do the 2.9 and then come back with this recapture. I think people need to be aware of what's coming, not what we might decide to do in, we have 3 years, right, to recap.
That's changed. So the law has changed now where you can do the recapture certificate. We started to do that. We did that last year. And what it'll do is you inform the county and the state that the board has intentionally under-levied for whatever chosen reason. And so the following year, if you choose to recapture, they will consider not the amount you actually levied for and received, but the maximum amount you could have received, and your percentage goes up from there. Because you are saying, I did this on purpose this year, but next year we want to be able to
So
consider
you'd
all of
like,
our.
they get double whammy next year technically in
Potentially.
my, okay.
So here's why I would prefer to go on 2.9, for the exact reason you said, but reaching the exact opposite conclusion. So we did when we discussed this last time, we came up with the assessment that we think we're probably gonna need somewhere around 2.9, based on the numbers we ran. And we're probably not gonna need all 5. The argument for all 5 was, we might, because we don't know what's coming, because we got a lot of,
Right, yeah,
up in the air expenses.
That was the discussion.
So basic and bottom line was, we're probably gonna need about 2.9. We might need more than that. So,
Well,
Was it-
let's say percentage.
Yeah.
Because when you're talking.
okay, we're probably gonna need 2.9%.
Yeah, there we go.
You know, should we go 2.9%? And then if we run short, we recapture it? Or should we go 5%? And then if that ends up being too high, then we
We
You
can
know, we
lower
get
it the
knocked.
following year.
we can lower it the following year. But my take is that we have fiduciary responsibility to the public, to the staff, and to the taxpayer. We have fiduciary responsibility to all 3, right? So we have a fiduciary responsibility to the public to provide them with the highest quality of services from this library. A fiduciary responsibility to the library staff in the sense of, we gotta make sure that the staff are well taken care of so that we can provide the highest quality of service to the public. Third, we have a fiduciary duty to the taxpayers so that the money that we are using for the library is being used most efficiently. So my argument would be that to use money most efficiently, you use what you think you ask for what you think you're gonna need. And then if you're allowed to get more later because you needed it, then you go back and ask for it. But if you ask for more than what you think you're gonna need now, and then you end up not needing it, then you're doing a disservice to the taxpayer at that point. Whereas we have an opportunity, if we need the extra, to get it back. But we don't have an opportunity that if we take the extra now and don't need it, to give it back.
Sure you can. It can be the, it's not a rebate, it's a,
Abatement.
thank you, an abatement.
Yeah, I mean, we can,
Well,
but it's not done, is what I'm saying. Recapture is much more frequently done. I guess technically, you could do an abatement, but I haven't seen it done
We have done it.
We've done it here,
when?
We have
Not
done it
since-
since I've been on the board, I believe.
yeah.
5 years ago, 6 years ago.
I have one question for Valerie, since she came back in, and another thing to bring up. First of all, I don't know if I'm foggy or what, but I always thought the recapture, or whatever you were talking about before, was if you underbid what you
Under-levy.
could, you know? What you're saying is, if we go up, we could still do that?
No.
Okay,
If you levy less than 5%, which is the maximum allowable by PTEL, then you can put in the recapture certificate. But
Okay,
if you levy
that-
5% or higher in some circumstances, which would require a truth and taxation hearing,
yes.
then you're not eligible for recapture.
I appreciate that, because when I said lower, I meant same or less, like we've had done so many times in the past. So thank you. The other thing is, if for certain items we run more than we anticipate in the budget, we do have that flexibility of that,
With the appropriation.
appropriations. Not meaning to use that word, because it used to really frost my cookies when a certain board member used to say, appropriations is appropriations, that's why we're cutting lower than we should be. So, but yes, we do have that emergency backup. So, I don't know, I'm mixed at this point. More discussion.
The difference of $165,000 is not a huge difference, but I kind of feel like, to the point of saying we don't know what we're gonna use it for, I have no doubt that we're gonna need that money when we decide what it is from the strategic plan
That's
that we're gonna
true.
wanna do. Yes, Richard?
You know, if I could just add, I think the framework is a little off, right? So you're never going to get 5%, you know.
No,
Unless it's already over 5%, then you're guaranteed that. It's gonna be the lesser of the two, right?
yeah,
So if you decide to go at 1 and do P-TEL and it's 3, well, you get the difference. If you decide to go 5, but it's still 1, you're not gonna get the difference because it's gonna be 1. So all you're doing with levying at 5% is saying that we'd like to capture the maximum that is allowed by law,
mhm,
whatever that happens to be, because we can't foretell that.
yeah,
And instead of saying, well, we're picking a number that is currently an estimate, which is, I believe, the 2.9,
Yeah.
The
and saying, the CPI, which is an estimate, we're saying, hey, we're not sure, we're gonna go with the estimate, and we're gonna file that in case the estimate's wrong, we'd like to collect on the maximum that's possible.
Mhm.
So it's a matter of just semantics, right? If you want to get the maximum that the library is allowed by law, you could either do it in one swoop by saying, we're gonna do 5%, and you'll get under 5 because it's not gonna be higher
No.
than 5. If the estimate's 2.9, unless something really drastically happens, you're not gonna go beyond 5. And even if it went over 5, if you did the 2.9 and did the P-TEL, you're gonna get up to 5 anyway. So it's just a matter of semantics. If the library is really concerned about going for the maximum of CPI, either you do it with a 2-step process or you do it with a 1-step process. 1-step
Right.
process is just approving it at 5%, which is not exactly gonna be 5, it's gonna be whatever it's going to come out. Or you say a certain amount now, but you also say, if that amount turns out higher, we're gonna recapture whatever points higher it's gonna be.
So, Rich,
And what we're talking about is from what the estimate, is, I guess, 165 tops, right? So it might be $10,000 because it's just 0.1, 0.2. You know, so I'm just saying,
Yes.
that's the framework you're looking at.
so Rich, then, given that this is essentially a semantical
Okay,
debate,
can I just wanna see if Suzanne or Dave have something they wanna put in, because the rest of us have already spoken, and I just wanna.
I just
keep
feel
this-
that we should do a 2.9. I think on the taxpayers, I don't think we should actually focus on such a large dollar amount. And I'm concerned about the taxpayers, what they're gonna endure. The library will always be here.
Dave, you have anything you want to?
I really can't see going for 5% unless there's some circumstance, some big project that, we're working on. I understand the strategic plan, does kind of, leave something out there that we're not sure what's gonna happen, but I think the 2.9 CPI is fiscally responsible, and it's not, 165,000 is not a, huge miss. We could weather that storm if we had to. And, that's where I would be leaning right now.
can I ask a question?
Yes, we can continue.
Thank you. I don't want to, I've already disturbed the meeting enough. The date we have to apply for that, to recapture or whatever, is it January, if I remember correctly, or is it later?
Last year, we voted on it in the same meeting, and it's actually on the agenda here, because once you decide about the levy, we submit the certificate right away, because you already know whether you're choosing to.
No, I'm talking about, not the levy,
The
but,
recapture.
yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna do that tonight. If
Tonight,
that's
too?
if that's
Okay,
what happens.
I'm- okay, thank you.
Mary, did you wanna add anything then, or are you?
yeah, I mean, I guess I'm with Dave on this one, that I feel like we should not levy based on what we speculate we might need versus should levy based on what we see in the budget that we're going to need. And then if we end up figuring out that we might need more, then we go ahead and recapture it.
Okay, we're ready for a vote then?
But
Are
we
we
gotta
voting
propose
on,
one
yes,
the
which
amount.
one are, Well,
Well, I don't know which way Roberto's going. so
well, somebody
somebody's
can
gonna-
motion what they
So-
would like to.
I don't think, Robert, you
Well,
haven't
Mayor-
talked, have you?
No, not
Oh,
on
I'm
this,
sorry, I
not
thought
on
you
this
did.
topic,
My-
right?
my mistake.
Thank you, Madam President, for giving me the opportunity. As I mentioned before, I'm in favor of 2.9%, and let's leave it at that.
Okay. Would you like to make a
Okay.
motion then?
Sure. I move for, I'm sorry, let me just look at the.
You
actual
want me to do
motion.
it? I can-
Yeah, go ahead,
Okay.
go ahead, if you got it ready.
Yeah, I move to approve ordinance 25-04 levying and assessing taxes in the Niles Main District Library, Cook County, Illinois, for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025, and ending June 30, 2026, in the amount of $8,091,962.
Can you repeat the number again? Yep.
$8,091,962. 8091962.
I got it, thank you.
Second. Oh, well,
Yeah. So I move and Roberto second.
Got it.
Vote?
Trustee Kadir?
Yes.
Trustee Sheeler?
yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Treasurer Patello?
Yes.
Secretary Toy?
Abstain.
Oh, jeez. Thank you.
Vice President Rosansky?
I'll say yes.
President King?
No.
Three yeses,
5 yeses.
5 yeses, 1 abstain, 1 no.
Passes.
Passes.
Thank you to the board.
Thank you.
So then you file this
Well, I would,
recapture,
I would like to,
Oh.
I motion
thank you.
to act on resolution, is this
To approve.
to approve? Is it 2504?
It'll be 2505.
2505?
Yeah.
Certificate under 190.7 of PTEL for 2025.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Passes.
Thank you. Okay, so, we did 6A, B,
C?
C we tabled, D we tabled, E, appointment for a personnel committee. Okay, so that's me. I would like to form a personnel committee that will be comprised of myself, Treasurer Vitello, and Trustee Sheeler. Do you accept?
I accept. Yes.
Okay. I would propose that we have our first meeting on Wednesday, October 29th, if you are available. It's 2 Wednesdays from now.
Yes, I'm available.
Oh, man, I'm sorry.
Yeah. that's in the
Okay.
evening.
Thank you. All right,
At
so
what
7
time?
o'clock? Is that good
Yes.
for you guys?
Mhm.
7? Okay. All right, thank you. All right, 6F.
So, it doesn't have to be voted on?
Mm-mm, they
Just
don't have
as,
to vote
okay.
yet.
Okay, sure. 6F is action on proposal for a second staff day annually and authorization to close the library for this purpose on Friday, April 17th, 2026. Is there any discussion or questions about that? All right, so is there a motion then to approve the proposal?
I motion to approve the action on the proposal for the second staff day, and authorize to close the library for this purpose on Friday, April 17th, 2026.
Annually.
Annually? Okay, but I wasn't sure, it is for more, this is anticipating every year?
Not the exact date every year, this is.
But
yeah,
I'm saying
yes,
every
annually.
year.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
then annually.
yes.
That's why I didn't say it, because I was
No,
not
thank
sure
you.
if it was just for this year.
Thank you, seconded.
Sorry.
No, thank you.
No, I'm sorry to her, because she's looking like, oh God, I gotta change my.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, any opposed?
6-0 passes.
Thank you again to the board.
All right, 6G is action on proposal to approve the budgeted special reserve fund expenditure not to exceed $58,749.19 to Johnson Controls Security Solutions and $15,967.79 to Anderson Lock for a door access control system.
I would like discussion.
Okay?
And I guess Rich would be the one, Rich. So I was reading the proposal and, I got the impression that this is just simply the new equipment and software that's gonna go along with that, but that there's other additional costs. Am I correct on that?
So as it was motioned, the door access control software hardware solution is $58,749.19 from Johnson Control Securities. The door adaptation to install the electric strikes is done by a locksmith, and that's Anderson Lock that we use, and that's an additional $15,967.79.
So, just so I can understand this, are the strikes the mechanism that keeps the door closed once it's engaged?
Yeah, the strike keeps the door closed. Currently, we have strikes that are non-automatic, so they need to be changed to be automatic so that the strike can open when a proximity card or fob is by the detector, the reader, and so then that's by which the mechanism operates, by which having the door gets unlocked.
Sure. And the reason why I'm asking is because if I understood the proposal, it indicated that essentially the library would be responsible for bringing in conduit that would be necessary to run to where the electromagnetic installation is going to take place.
So there's low voltage. This is a low voltage solution, so there won't be any need for conduit. What there will be is in certain areas where the ceiling is higher and the wall surface or the wall itself is solid, like brick, or it's wood and we can't drill through, we'll have exposed conduit. But that's part of this.
Those costs are already computed in these amounts right here?
Yes.
Okay, because I didn't understand it
so
for that way.
basically what this does, between the locksmith
Mhm.
and Johnson Controls, 14 doors will lose they won't lose keys. We'll still have keyed access, but they'll gain a reader, proximity reader next to them or on the lintel or somewhere near that will allow staff to not use keys or not use the coded doors and just use their badge or fob in order to unlock the door.
Sure.
And it's a complete tourniquet solution.
So just help me understand something with regards to in case of fires. How is that going to be integrated?
Doesn't do anything with the fire.
So if the alarm system is activated, and let's just say that we lose power, what happens to the door at that point?
You won't be able to unlock a door if we lose power for a significant amount of time.
Oh, that's not
with
good.
the proximity card. None of the doors, the egress that is being protected is egress through a fire door. So it's egress out which is always unlocked. So to give you an example, this door will have proximity to get into it. This is not an escape to get in. This door is to escape out for your fire. So all the doors that will have the 14 doors that will have these, none of the egress through with the system is not egress out for fire. Does that make sense?
It does to me, because I had a meeting earlier where we were discussing issues with fires in the past and how fire codes were changed. And one of the things is everybody has to exit, be able to exit.
So
So
all
that
14
does make
doors
sense.
are, you can exit through those doors during a fire or an evacuation. You cannot, the opposite way is protected. So the exit way is unprotected. It's not, so it's not fobbed on both sides. You don't need the proximity card in order to enter and exit, just to enter those areas.
So you can always get out.
Yes, you can
But
always
you can't get in without a
Maybe that's
tag.
the best way to explain it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so we made sure that the only door that we had question on, whether that it was a fire door, we created an entire new corridor as a secondary fire exit so that we could then preclude that exit as a exit for fire. And now that's just a staff access door. That's on the first floor. And so that's why that corridor now exists into youth services, as you might have noticed. As you would go down to the lower level, there's a nice see-through door. It's an exit door. That's the second egress from the commons area that we're required by law to have. Where originally it was the staff hallway, and that is no longer an exit sign. You don't have, or an exit door, no longer have the exit sign above it. And so that's not a fire exit anymore. So none of the 14 doors are fire exit doors.
And another question with regards to the main door itself. That's not part of this quote. Okay.
These are all doors that are leading to staff areas, except for this door and then the two doors in the commons. Those are public meeting rooms. All the other doors are staff doors. The staff areas.
Sure. So, and I don't know who might be able to answer this, but and I think it was maybe Valerie. Valerie, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the issue was that there's an expense to losing a key, correct, and having a replacement. So now with fobs, are you aware of what is the replacement cost in case those fobs get lost?
Yeah, it's a few dollars for the fobs. And it's way more for the keys because we have to get 50 blanks in order to create a key. But more importantly, if you lose a key, I can't cancel the cylinder. I might have to replace several more cylinders that have that key, where a fob is individual, right? So I can say, yep, that fob no longer, or that proximity card is no longer accessible. It's burned, right? It will never work here. And I don't have to change anything else. I just deactivate that card. Where I can't deactivate a key cylinder because someone lost their key. And so it's a much better way of having security implementation. So that's...
Sure. And you mentioned it is low voltage, right? So
It is low voltage.
we won't necessarily see an increase, a significant increase in electrical use. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyone else? Let's take a look.
Trustee Kadir?
Yes.
Trustee Shealy?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Treasurer Vitello?
Yes.
Secretary Toy?
Yes.
Vice President Rosansky?
Yes.
President Keen?
Yes.
7 yeses, motion passes.
I move to approve the purchase of the budgeted expenditure not to exceed $25,189.46 to CDWG for the purchase of VM software to back up virtual servers.
I second it.
Is there any questions on this? right, take a vote, please.
Trustee Kadir?
Yes.
Trustee Sheeler?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Treasurer Patello?
Yes.
Secretary Toy?
Yes,
Vice President Rosansky?
Yes.
President King?
Yes.
7-0 passes.
I move to award a contract for snow removal and salting to BCLS Landscaping for the 2025 through 2027 snow removal seasons in the amount of $19,360 per year.
Second.
I have just a slight discussion, not even a discussion. Everywhere we're mentioned in this contract, we're Niles Pub. Okay, you got it, all right, excellent, so we're gonna be Niles Main District Library. Beautiful, that's it. It was like, oh, that old name, wow.
You're just correcting something, the wording.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
the
Niles
wording,
Public
but it
Library
was,
instead of Niles.
yeah.
Main.
I understand.
But in a contract, I think it's pretty
It's
important.
important that you have the regular name.
So that means 2 years, right?
2 seasons, yep. This season coming up now, and then the next season, so.
Okay.
We've been, for the last 4 seasons, renewing every 2 years, so.
Okay.
It seems to be able to, we're able to lock in 2 years, so. I think that's a-
Which is a good thing because you don't have to worry about an increase.
Okay, go ahead.
Trustee Kadir?
Yes.
Trustee Sheeler?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Treasurer Patello?
Yes.
Secretary Toy?
Yes,
Vice President Rosansky?
Yes.
President King?
Yes.
7-0 passes.
Item 6J is discussion about board representation at Chamber of Commerce events. This is something we are revisiting for Treasurer Patello's suggestion, so I don't know if there's anything you want to say about that.
Yeah, very quickly. I think we have a golden opportunity by partnering with the Chamber of Commerce. They are very active in our community, and that's one way that we can do outreach within the business community here. And I know that they're always looking for participation, and I hope that we as a board can send 2 representatives to attend their events and the reason why I'm suggesting 2 representatives is in the event that one is not available, we'll have at least 1 representative from the library here.
You talking all events or the Tuesday morning?
Well, possibly, selecting 2 because it usually is that it's very difficult to get everybody scheduled to match. So,
I understand.
we'll have at least 1 person.
that's not what she's asking though. She's
Oh,
asking
All events?
Tuesday mornings only or all events for 2 representatives. Am I correct?
yeah, okay. Well, for all events, the cost may not, depending on the event, some events are not costly. There are some costs to some of the events that they have, but for the most part, we invite as many board members as are available.
I was just clarifying, that's all.
Yeah,
I don't have any objection.
Sure. So, I'm comfortable recommending 2 trustees for all events.
And are we trying to,
Figure out who those
like,
two are
are we gonna
tonight.
have the same people that do all the events, or you?
It would,
I would say as aspirational, that's great. Mandatory, I wouldn't be so, they're gonna be times where people are not available.
right, yeah, absolutely.
I wanna throw my hat in the ring, but probably not until December.
There are multiple events every month. There's
Yeah, right,
Tuesday
exactly.
morning networks, there's an after hours every month, there's special holiday events, there's.
Ideally, it would be great to have rotation, but if that's something that we cannot do, then,
Well, to rotate, then we have to discuss it, or throw it out there each month. Okay, who's gonna come to this or
You can
that?
do that by email. No.
Hmm?
You can do that by email, that's not really board business, is it?
That's
I often get emails from Aaron with a list of events coming, so I could share that every month and say, if you're able, go ahead and go to that, but I don't know how we want to, if we wanna hold ourselves accountable in some way instead of me just saying, here it is, go if you can, because then,
I would say we keep it like a chart, like people sign up. You're gonna go to this one, you're gonna go to this one. You gotta back out at the last minute, that's okay, but, you know, at least that then there's some sort of feeling of obligation, right? So,
I mean, it would be ideal to have a participation from everybody, right? But I do understand we have commitments outside of the board. You know, if it makes it easier, we could possibly appoint.
I would, yeah,
Yeah, I know you mentioned that, but
yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm interested in participating, I don't know how others feel, I'm definitely interested.
how about, let's start with, I will send out the email. And if you are interested and able to go to one of the events listed on it, let me know. And then if I find that there are events where we have no one signed up for, I can further that.
Okay.
And we can try that for a month or two and see how that goes, and then,
That sounds good.
okay, like, because the Holly Jolly's coming up, I think it would be good for us to be at that too. so.
Holly Jolly, usually we have no problem with people showing up for that.
But is that Chamber of Commerce, is that's the village puts it
That's
on?
the village.
Yes,
That
okay.
makes the whole-
But even like Night of Roses, the Tuesday morning to me is one I used to go to a lot, but I haven't been for quite a while.
Well, it's nice that those are free, and they're here too. So it's really, I think, extra special for us to be ambassadors in that respect, because we're welcoming them into our space. So,
I agree
I
with
think the
you.
next one is coming up next week, right? You know, I think I have it in my
This Tuesday
calendar,
morning next week?
because I was planning on coming to that one, so.
Because to be honest, I keep forgetting, because it's usually the same Tuesday each month, and then since I had stopped going, what Tuesday is that?
It is the 21st this month, and I was planning on being that. So if anyone would like to join me, I'd be happy
I
for company.
can try for that, and it's at what time again?
7:30 or 7?
Very early,
Yeah, it's
right?
very early.
Usually
7:30?
7:30.
I'll let you know. Yeah. Okay. Are we set on that then? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President.
I move to enter executive session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees under 5 ILCS 120/2C1, and the discussions of meetings lawfully closed under the Open Meetings Act, whether for purposes of approval by the body of the minutes or semi-annual review of the minutes as mandated by section 2.06.5 ILCS 120/2C21.
Second. 8:28.
Got to vote, right?
All in
Yep.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 8:28?
Yeah, that's Didn't we just go back in?
Yeah.
All right, we are back in open session at 9:49 PM on October 15th, and we are now, yes, action, if any, on executive session items is just a statement from the board, which is, the board wishes to publicly reaffirm our dedication to supporting staff and administration. We are committed to providing a work environment that is professional, collaborative, and rewarding. We recognize that in order to achieve these goals, we must all do our part. The board's part is to be in constant communication with administration about library matters. Our library has been through extensive trauma over the last 5 years, and so the board is open to communication from staff when the chain of command has been followed to the fullest extent. Thank you all for your patience and cooperation in rebuilding our library.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you give me a copy of that?
I can.
Thank you.
And we are on to other. I just have one sentence. Lisa Calloway is retiring at the end of the year, and she will be handing our case over to coworkers.
That was in, I saw her retirement in the RFP, they wrote it. Oh, poops.
She did say, when I did speak with her, and she did say that she will be available to her team because she's familiar with some of, not just us, but with other organizations. So she is still a contact for them, which is nice to know that they still have her support.
She did actually say that you could reach out to her personally as well. Does anyone else have other?
No.
Patty, I think you had something.
No, I thought,
Is there a motion to
I
adjourn?
move to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
I
All in favor?
Aye. 9:51.